night vision is awesome. Hey, Chase with EOTECH, and I've got my hands in my pockets because it's cold, but I'm out here suffering for you. All right, guys, tonight we are talking about helmets, helmet setups, and most importantly, the why behind them. You should always have a good reason for everything you do, especially when it comes to spending this kind of money. So let's dig into helmets. First, why do we wear helmets? Well, that's a great question. There's a variety of reasons. One, something like this OpsCore ballistic helmet, it helps stop fragmentation and potentially handgun rounds. Now, I know there's a lot of people out there are gonna say, but wait, what about rifle-rated helmets? And yeah, there's some armor solutions out there for that, and those have mixed reviews for sure. Contrary to popular belief, you are not Superman, and neither am I, and our necks are going to get tired, and you can get compression injuries from a repeated use, especially a repeated use in the same area, and it's real easy to mess yourself up, especially when you add in plate carriers and backpacks and guns, and you run around and jump and fall down because you didn't see something in the dark. Ask me how I know. So keeping in mind weight, it's going to be super important for your helmet setup. Now, what does that actually mean? Let's talk about it. All right, so weight. How heavy does your helmet need to be? Well, honestly, it needs to be as light as possible. That is why they have bump helmets, right? So this is a just plastic protective helmet. It's gonna protect your head from hard knocks. You can put all the cool guy stuff on it if you need it. But one thing to keep in mind is don't put something on your helmet if you don't need it. So for instance, I have ear protection, pretty important, and it's on my helmet. I have an umbrella light. This runs in IR as well as visible spectrum, so I can project it up if I need to. I can put it forward. I can roll it forward if I need to, and put out white light or IR to help see in very dark environments. And I've got my IFF strobe back here. This does visible and IR as well, so that I can be identified if need be. Otherwise, I've got a helmet cover on that. So pretty minimalist. That's really all I need. If I wasn't working with a team or I'm not worried about being identified, I can even pop this strobe off. And then otherwise, my comms do work with my radio. I can wire in my plate carrier if I need to. If not, that's really not adding any weight. But if I wanted to, I could pull that cable to save a few ounces if you care that much. But again, weight is crucial because you don't want to hurt your neck. You don't want to end up with spine injuries, I promise. The other thing is helmets help us wear night vision. Night vision is a cantilevered weight out in front of your face. That is going to pull your head down. You can't do anything about that, especially as you fatigue. So two things to keep in mind there. Again, total weight savings is important, but counterbalancing this weight out front is important. Now, a lot of people think I'm going to put batteries in the back of my helmet and that's going to help a lot. And it does depend on your night vision. If you're running a very lightweight PVS 14, it's not going to be as heavy as dual tubes or even quads, but you need to make sure it works for you, your helmet setup, and your overall strength, right? Helmets are extremely custom items. You're not just gonna buy something off the shelf and it's gonna work for you. You're gonna have to work with it and build it over time. And what do I mean by that? Well, I mean, use your helmet. Wear it all the time. Sit at your desk, wear it for a little while. Run around your house with it. Drive with it sometimes. The point is you want to wear it in a variety of situations and really learn how it works for you, and then you learn what you need to change. Also, you're going to be building strength while you do that. Conditioning is a lifetime, it's sort of your lifetime achievement award, right? You're never going to really get there, but you need to always work on it. And give yourself time, give yourself some grace. Build strength and conditioning over time, and that's why you want to use your helmet intermittently to make sure it's working well for you. One of the other things you can do is buy weight packs, and you can add or subtract weight again based on what you need, and again, feel it out. And then finally, and I cannot overemphasize how important this is, pads. So every helmet has internally a suspension system and pads. Each pad and each person's helmet shape, how much hair you have, all that stuff is going to determine how well the helmet fits. Make it fit for you. Do not be scared to customize your helmet. You can buy a ton of aftermarket pads and suspension systems. Most of them work with most helmets, and they will tell you on the website what it does and does not work with. But I have 2 different suspension systems and 2 different pad systems in these helmets because they weigh different amounts and I use them for different things. Don't be afraid to mix and match different manufacturers. Pads are going to be crucial. And then finally, make sure that your helmet can help keep you warm. A lot of times guys think, oh, my head's gonna get hot in a helmet, it's gonna sweat all the time. Sure, depending on some environments, maybe, but sometimes, like now, it can be super cold outside, and there are good solutions made by companies to actually run a liner, a warming liner, inside your helmet, so you're not trying to put like a beanie on or something, and then mush it down with a helmet. That can get very uncomfortable, and I promise you get a headache real quick. That is going over making the helmet fit and weight. let's move on to the next thing. Next, helmets. They carry our night vision, right? Everyone knows that. We all think about that. Night vision, super expensive. You probably know that too. You really, really, really do not want to lose this. And there's a variety of ways that can happen. You could hit it going through a door, you get snagged on a branch, fall down, it falls off your helmet. Different mounts break away or don't break away. Again, you can buy all kinds of options for what works for you, but you want to make sure these have a retention system of some kind. So most helmets will ship with these bungees. Those work okay. You can also use the Nerd, you can use 550 cord. Any way you can make sure that these have a dummy corded or dummy retention system, and I would say dummy is in, don't be a dummy and lose your night vision, right? Have some way where if this comes off the mount or the mount comes off the helmet, they're not just gone, because that's a real bad day. Make sure you retain your very, very expensive night vision. Also, other things that may be expensive, you can also dummy cord down. Like I have my shock tube here over top of the strobe. It's an expensive strobe, so even if it was to come off the Velcro, it's still dummy corded on with that shock cord. So again, the expensive things that can come off my helmet, I'm gonna tie down. Really don't wanna lose those. All right, guys, so that is kind of a brief overview on the how and why behind helmets. Helmets are cool, you can put a lot of stuff on them. It makes you look super neat on Instagram, but they most importantly serve a very important purpose. They help protect your head, they carry your night vision, they carry other mission critical gear, and they will set you up for success if you set them up properly. But again, like everything else, you're worth it. Invest time and money in yourself to make sure that your gear is working the best way it can for you. Make sure your helmet is not heavier than it needs to be. Make sure the pads and retention system work well for you. Make sure that you're working with your helmet and training with it over time to let yourself grow and get it conditioned to it, so it's not just throwing it all at once and you're going to have a potential injury. Finally, make sure that you're investing the time into this stuff that the budget requires. None of this is going to be cheap. You're going to have to bite the bullet on that one. So make sure that once you've spent the money, you put in the time into yourself and time into training to make sure you're getting the most possible performance out of your gear. At the end of the day, guys, smaller, lighter, faster is better. So don't put something unnecessary in your helmet. Don't put bad pads in it. Don't put a bad suspension system in it. And don't let yourself get hurt unnecessarily by not training with it appropriately. You got any comments or questions, please put them down below. We're always here as a resource to help you out. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something useful. Train hard, live free. See you next time.